Hello and welcome to English Unleashed. I'm Sarah, and alongside me is Tom. We're absolutely thrilled you're joining us today, especially if you're just starting your English learning journey. We understand how challenging it can feel, so we've designed this podcast specifically with beginners in mind. You'll notice we speak clearly and at a slightly slower pace than normal conversation. We choose straightforward, everyday vocabulary and intentionally build in pauses after key ideas. This gives you precious moments to absorb what you've heard, process the meaning, and even repeat phrases quietly to yourself. Our core mission is to transform English learning from something daunting into a genuinely helpful, supportive, and, dare we say, enjoyable experience. Remember, we're here to guide you every step of the way.
Thank you, Sarah, and a warm welcome again to all our listeners. Let me outline exactly how each episode of English Unleashed is crafted to build your confidence. Every session centers around a relatable, short dialogue featuring natural conversations between two people, much like chats you might overhear or participate in yourself. Immediately following the dialogue, Sarah and I will break it down. We'll focus on explaining essential words and phrases, clarifying their meanings, and how they're used in context. But we don't stop there. To make these points truly stick, we provide multiple examples and often share personal anecdotes, little stories from our own lives that illustrate the language in action. Crucially, we want to emphasize this: feel completely free to listen to each episode multiple times. There's absolutely no pressure to grasp everything instantly. Repetition is a powerful learning tool. Our primary goal is for you to relax, find pleasure in the process, and witness your skills improving steadily, one manageable step at a time. Consistent, stress-free exposure is key.
Speaking of personal stories, let me give you a real-life example from just yesterday that perfectly illustrates some common daily routine vocabulary. I had what we call a late night. I stayed up watching movies and didn't actually get to sleep until about 1 a.m. Fast forward to the morning alarm buzzing at 7:30 a.m. That's when I woke up. My eyes opened, I became conscious, but honestly, the bed felt far too comfortable. I lay there for another 15 minutes before I finally got up. That means I physically left the bed at around 7:45 a.m. Then my morning routine kicked in. I went to the bathroom, washed my face, brushed my teeth, and then decided I needed a shower to properly wake up. After that, it was time for some housework. I tidied the living room and then faced a task I often postpone: doing the shopping. I headed to the supermarket to buy groceries. I have to confess, I'm not a fan of busy stores. They feel a bit overwhelming. By the time I got home, unpacked, and put everything away, it was well past noon. I was hungry but didn't want anything heavy, so I had a very light lunch, just some simple soup and toast. That wrapped up a surprisingly busy morning, all starting from that reluctant moment of getting up.
Analytical, clarifying tone. Sarah's description brings up two crucial verbs that learners often mix up: waking up and getting up. Let's clarify the distinction clearly, as it's fundamental to talking about mornings. Waking up refers strictly to the biological moment when sleep ends. Your eyes open, you regain consciousness, you are awake, but you are still in bed. Getting up, however, is the physical action that follows. It means you swing your legs out of bed, stand up, and leave the bed behind to commence your day. People have vastly different habits bridging these two actions. Some individuals, like Sarah described herself this morning, experience a gap. They wake up, but linger in bed for a few minutes, perhaps enjoying the quiet, gathering their thoughts, mentally planning the day, or just savoring the comfort. Others are up and at 'em types who get up almost the instant they wake up. Recognizing this difference between the state of being awake in bed and the action of rising is vital for accurately describing your own mornings.
Exactly, Tom. And speaking of my shower this morning, that leads nicely into another interesting language point about hygiene routines. The verb we use depends largely on whether we're using British or American English. In British English, the standard phrase is to have a shower. So I would say I had a shower this morning. In American English, however, the preferred phrase is to take a shower. An American would likely say, I took a shower this morning. Both phrases mean the same core action: washing your body under a stream of running water. Beyond the language, there's also a practical difference between showering and bathing. A shower is generally quick, efficient, and invigorating, perfect for waking yourself up in the morning or cooling down after exercise. A bath, conversely, involves filling a tub and sitting or lying in warm water. It's usually slower, focused on relaxation, soothing muscles, or perhaps even indulging in a good book. Your choice between opting for a shower or a bath often comes down to your mood, the time available, and what you need from it: a quick refresh or a leisurely unwind.
Staying with Sarah's morning, she mentioned doing housework after her shower. This is a broad term covering various tasks, but let's break down two specific ones she likely did. Firstly, making your bed. This is a simple but impactful chore. It involves straightening the sheets, blankets, and arranging the pillows neatly after you get up. It usually takes just a minute or two, but the effect is significant. It instantly makes a bedroom look tidier and more inviting. It's a small win to start the day. Secondly, doing housework, or doing the housework, is the umbrella term. This encompasses all those essential cleaning and tidying tasks needed to maintain a home. Washing dishes or doing the dishes, sweeping or vacuuming floors, dusting furniture, cleaning bathrooms, doing laundry, washing clothes, and more. It's often concentrated on weekends when people have more time, though daily tasks like dishes are constant. Let's be honest, housework isn't always enjoyable. It can feel like a chore. However, it's a routine and necessary part of adult life. A great way to make it less tedious is to involve others. Doing housework together as a family or with housemates can turn it into a more social and even slightly fun activity.
And speaking of doing the shopping, Tom, that's another key phrase for my morning that deserves focus, especially regarding correct verb usage. We say, do the shopping, when referring to the activity of going out to buy everyday necessities, particularly groceries. It's crucial to note the verb here is do, not make or buy. You wouldn't say, I make the shopping or I buy the shopping for the activity itself. You do the shopping and then you buy the groceries while you are doing it. Habits around shopping vary widely. Some people prefer to do the shopping little and often, perhaps daily or every other day. Others, like me, sometimes find it more efficient to do one big weekly shop to cover most needs. Regardless of whether you shop daily, weekly, or somewhere in between, the phrase describing the activity remains consistently do the shopping. Remember this collocation.
Sarah mentioned her late movie night led to that tough wake-up. That's a classic example of having a late night. This phrase specifically means going to bed much later than your usual time, often because you're engaged in enjoyable activities like watching films, socializing with friends, attending an event, or even working late. Both Sarah and I have plenty of personal experience with this. We've had those nights out or long movie marathons that seemed like a great idea at the time, only to lead to significant tiredness, difficulty concentrating, and maybe even a bit of grumpiness the following day. While the occasional late night can be fun and memorable, a night out with friends, a special celebration, it's really important to understand the impact. Consistently having late nights, making it a regular habit, disrupts your sleep pattern. This can seriously affect your overall health and well-being, impacting your energy levels, mood, immune system, and even long-term health. Enjoyment is important, but balance and regular sleep are essential.
Finally, Tom, circling back to that late night I had, it connects to two more essential bedtime phrases that learners sometimes confuse: go to bed and go to sleep. These describe distinct phases of your nighttime routine. Go to bed refers to the deliberate action of getting into your bed. You finish your evening activities, maybe change into pajamas, brush your teeth, and physically get under the covers with the intention of sleeping. It's about your location and intention. Go to sleep, however, describes the moment when you actually transition from being awake to being asleep. You fall asleep. This naturally happens after you've gone to bed, and there's often a time gap. For instance, last night, I went to bed at 10:30 p.m. I read for a little while, then put my book down and tried to go to sleep. I remember looking at the clock at 10:50 p.m., and I think I finally went to sleep around 11 p.m. That half-hour gap between going to bed and going to sleep is quite common. Understanding this difference helps you describe your own nighttime patterns accurately. As a little practice, we encourage you to think about your own routine. When do you usually go to bed? How long does it typically take you to go to sleep after that? Try describing it using these clear phrases.
Wonderful clarification, Sarah. So, to wrap up today's episode of English Unleashed, we've covered some fundamental vocabulary and concepts around daily routines, the difference between waking up and getting up, the terms have, take a shower, and how it contrasts with a bath, essential chores like making your bed and doing housework, the correct phrase, do the shopping, the concept and consequences of having a late night, and finally, the distinct meanings of go to bed versus go to sleep. We've woven these together through Sarah's relatable morning after a late night story.
Absolutely, Tom. Remember, the key is practice and repetition without pressure. Listen back to sections. Try using these phrases when you think about your own day. Maybe even jot down a simple description of your typical routine using the vocabulary we discussed. Every little bit helps you become more comfortable and confident.
That's right. Don't strive for perfection, strive for progress. Enjoy the journey of learning. Thanks for joining us today on English Unleashed.
Keep practicing, and we look forward to having you with us next time.